Good evening, everyone. I hope you're all having a wonderful Wednesday, December 21st, 2022. We're going to be looking at what had occurred today in the S&P 500 futures market. I'm going to be breaking things down a little bit differently today. I'm going to start with the larger time frames. Mostly, I'm going to start with the daily and then back it down from there. Actually, I lied. We're going to start with the monthly and back it down, just so you guys have an understanding and context as to what I've been looking at over the past several days. Normally, I start my videos off looking at the 30-minute time frame, TPO, and market profile, and kind of give you guys an update from that standpoint and whatnot. So I'm gonna start from this point. Uh, Monthly, we're gonna be looking at our monthly chart real quick. Monthly is in a 4 or 5 month balance, multi-month balance here. Monthly balance high is August high up here, right, at 43.2750. And then we have the monthly balance low down here at 35.02 back in October, right? So we're just in a pure balance, large range that we're trading inside of as far as a monthly standpoint goes. So price action is just bouncing around in here, waiting for more market generated information for us to break out. Whether that be good inflation news that sends us, short covering rally and buyers stepping back into the market to send this thing back to all-time highs. I don't know. Or does recession fears continue to step into the market and inflation somehow begin to tick back up, uh, and or rather yet stagflation, things of that nature, more macroeconomic data that comes out that could put this market into a tizzy and send us down lower. Those are things that we are waiting for as far as a market standpoint, but we're just trading back and forth in this large range. So monthly is balance. Now let's look at the weekly. Weekly is trading inside this monthly balance. The weekly, however, has been one time framing down. Uh, as you can see, we broke that multi-week balance low, had an outside week down last week, broke that multi-week balance low here, and we've been one time framing down since. So on that outside week down, that started the one time framing down, trend down, and then the weekly this week so far took out the previous week's low, continued to one time frame down, but looks like we're back testing that weekly balance low here at 39.1250. All right, so weekly, one time frame and down inside the monthly balance. Next weekly target, as far as downside destination goes, is back here at 37.8 or 37.3825. Next downside target, where you could potentially find buyers step into the market for anybody that is swing trading this large trend down. I mean, I can't get any more crazy and simple than just following the trend, right? Uh, Setting lower highs all year long. Then into the daily. As you can see on the daily, we're back testing that a little bit more clearly. We're above the 50-day moving average. Let's look here. It's our next daily target down there at 37.5150. But what occurred today is we opened with a gap. Market's been pretty emotional, right? We have this gap from back here on the 14th that needs to be filled. We just filled the gap on the downside from the December contract back here at 38.25.25. There was a gap there that we had just filled. This whole gap, that is the one that I'm referring to, the one that I'm currently highlighting. That gap was a gap that I was referring to. I said if we reject the 200-day moving average, odds of back testing the 50-day and filling that gap were really good. And guess what? We did exactly that over the past several days. The market's been one time framing down 5 days in a row until today when we gap up. So we have it's not a large gap, but it is a gap nonetheless. Yesterday's high was 38.6650. Today's low was at 38.7050. So a very small gap, not very large at all in here. Very tiny gap, but we did hold a gap as well as a trend day on the intraday, and I'll show you more about that. We put the market back into a balance. We're going to call it a 4-day balance initially, using today's high, today's high and the recent swing low here. So that will be our balance here, as you can see. That's how I'm looking at it. We're in a 4-day balance. If we take out today's high tomorrow, the daily will go from balance to one time frame and up. But for now, we're in a 4-day balance. Now, if the market just happens to push up to today's high, can't get above it, and we roll over, then guess what? That's seller stepping back in, protecting the one-time framing on the weekly, as there's only 7 days left in the trading year. We'll see how this thing closes out. Do we get above and stay above the 50-day moving average, the 9, and then back test the 20-day moving average and fill this upside gap? That is yet to be seen. It's very possible, as most of the volume today and most of the move over the past 2 days has been strictly short covering, in my opinion, because it has been relatively light volume on these pushes back up. So short covering, stepping into the market. Maybe that's all they wanted to do was short this thing from the 200, backfill that gap on the daily, and then cover their positions, and people start to establish a position back to the upside. We'll see what happens. If we take out today's high, daily will go back to one time frame and up. Now let's look at what occurred on the intraday. Let's break it down a little bit more deeply. Get our X-ray vision going on here. Now, I only took 3 trades today. 3 trades overall. Had a really good day. Um, a really good day. I had a long trade overnight that I bought back in the overnight session. If I were to go to my multi-time frame real quick, I don't know why it's telling me that. Recent, bear with me. And then let's include show extended. So in the overnight session, I was long before I went to work this morning. Don't know why it's not allowing me to zoom in here. I was long after we had broken out of yesterday's high. Once we got above yesterday's high and we came back in the overnight session, because I was up around 1 a.m., I'd seen we had pulled back against that value high from yesterday, so I got long 60s. And then as we came into the open this morning, I sold around 75 and 80s, 2 lot of the ES mini contract. So really good trade there, about 15 to 20 points on that trade. Cannot complain. Very good trade on my part. Had I held, I would have made a lot more, but that's okay. I took more trades throughout the day. Really only 2 more trades, but I was long back on this backfill or on this back test of the value high where you see this blue line here. That was an area I was looking to buy against this high volume node as well, right in here. I was thinking good opportunity to take a long there, and that's exactly what I did. And then rode this bad boy up into the 70s, which I was kind of looking at this daily high from back here, 83, 80s. So that's kind of where I was looking to get out. So once this thing rotated back up to 75 and 80, that's where I decided to get out of that trade for a really good gain. Now let's go back to the single time frame here. So that was my initial trade on the day. One long overnight session, good trade. And all these lines you see on my screen, all these orange lines, those are just upside destinations that we were looking at. So some destinations will be green, some will be yellow. Orange are usually where you'll find sellers. Green is where you usually find buyers. And then yellow just means point of control, where the POC was for the day. Today, strictly short covering, as the profile looks like a P shape. You can see that here. P shape. We open with a gap. Like I said, we almost filled it. We held it by just a hair. You can see right in there, we still hold the gap. So this hive day becomes a back test area where you look to maybe find some buyers in that area. We rotate higher, take out the 19th high. Like I said, that's where I was looking to take profits in the overnight session. Once we did that, uh, buyers had in the RTH session, buyers had taken out the overnight high and then put the daily back into a balance. Now the question was, how much of that balance did they want to get into? Did we want to push all the way back up to the highest accepted price back here from the 16th and get that high day from 16th? That was the question. Well, once B period opened up and pushed and took out A period's high, each one of these periods, by the way, is just a 30-minute time frame, right? A is the first 30 minutes of the day, B is the second 30 minutes, and so on and so forth. So B period, the second 30-minute time frame of the day, pushed up, took out A period's high, which means we're one time framing up now. Buyers have a gap, they have overnight high. So these are things that are on my checklist I'm looking at. They also have one time framing up now. They have value over, or they have value higher at the time as well. So value's higher, overnight high, one time framing up. So there's a lot of things in buyers' favor at this point. So as we push up, guess what? Shorts begin to panic. They begin to cover their positions, and we push up. As B and in C period were our two heaviest volume time frames of the day, um, excluding M period, of course. So B period pushes up. We create a set of single prints. So after we take out this daily high, we create a set of single prints. And all a set of single prints is just an area you can look to find buyers in, as there was once shorts that were getting squeezed out. That's where you'll find buyers on a pullback. You should find bids resting in this area. So we created a set of single prints here in B period. C opens up. We have the initial balance set. Initial balance is just A period and B periods highs and lows, right? The first two time frames, highs and lows. That will be our initial balance. Well, guess what? C period took out the initial balance high, which puts another thing in the bull's cap, another feather in the bull's cap. So we continue to one time frame up. This bad boy pushes up even higher. We get that highest accepted price from the 19th, so that's gone. We blew right through that. Shorts were panicking. And then as we approached that high day from the 16th, we kind of started to stall out a little bit. Didn't find a whole lot of buyers at this higher price. And as we kind of approached it in C period, we backed off a few times, but ultimately closed near the highs. So C period created another set of single prints. As that happened, we open up in D, push higher, continue to one time frame up. We get that higher day from the 16th, but then we roll over. All right, so we start to backfill a little bit in this set of single prints. And initially, your set of single prints, if you just pay attention to the right side of the screen, initially your set of single prints look like this. I'm about to highlight it. Initially, set of single prints look like this. Boom, 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 boom. And this is what I mean. You just kind of, whenever you have single prints, you look for bids to start stepping in, and you can take a long comfortably when this starts to happen. So as D period pulls back a little bit, initially we found a bounce as it closed near where it opened. Then E period takes out D's low, stops the one time frame and up on the intraday time frame, right? We still have this set of single prints here that we're holding. E continues to backfill a little bit. F period continues to backfill a little bit more, but we never fill. So now the set of single prints go from there to there. So not a lot left, right? We had a set from 38.95.75 where they started, and 39.05 backfilled a little bit. Now they're at 38.98.50, and then they fill at 39 or 38.95.75. So 3 points, not a lot left there, but we do hold, and it was a good long opportunity there. That's where I entered my second long, was in F period, near the close of it. because I seen bids started to step back into the market. Took that long around 39.01 in F period as G pushed up, stopped the one time frame and down. G pushes up. I get out of this trade at 39.08 for a nice 7 point gain on a 2 lot. Really good trade on my part. I could have held to the day's high, but didn't want to risk this thing rolling over and maybe getting into the B period set of single prints down here. Um, didn't want to risk getting into this area. So I took profits where I was comfortable, made really good money on that trade. And then the only other trade I took was later in the day as this thing grinded up in H, failed at that high day again. As you can see, we back tested a little bit more. I period, and then we just pretty much remained rotational. The only other trade that I was interested in was fading the extreme here in J period on the new high day because tempo and volume at the time were pretty whack. After we took out D's high, you want to see this thing start to push higher, right? You want to see people shorts panic, buyers start to step in, and this thing create another set of single prints, and then we go from a double distribution day to a triple distribution day. You want to see that happen. That didn't occur. So as J period came back in, I got short 39.17, basically back into D period's range. Once that happened, I got short. I put my stop up here at 21, just a few points above, and then let this thing roll back over to. At the time, we had a wide point of control where this yellow line is. Basically, I was using a mean reversion strategy to short this thing back to the mean, which I got paid on really well, made about 15 points on that trade from 17 down to 10 is where I got out of that trade, I believe. It was either 39.10 or 39.09, somewhere in there. I believe I got filled out of my contract. Um, Very good trade on my part. And after that, nothing else. Didn't do anything. The day was rotational. The only trades that interested me was that pullback in F period against the single prints and then the short fade of the new high day as a mean reversion to come back to the point of control. And then that was it. That's all I had in me. So that's what occurred today. I know that was a little long-winded, long in the tooth, but yeah, that's what happened. That's how I traded today. That's how I looked at it. I'll go ahead and mark these destinations. We have today's low day at 38.70.50. Then we have, nope, we can't call that an afternoon pullback low because M took it out. We could have had potentially, nope, never mind. We still had single prints there. We still hold a very small set of single prints. So double distribution day. We're going to mark these set of single prints. And I'll review the distributions here in just a second. 38.83.75 is where the single prints fill. Single prints fill, and then they start at 38.93.75 C's low. 38.93.75 C periods low is where the single prints start, aka where you should find buyers step in. Then we have another very small set of single prints that get filled at B's high of 38.95.75. Like this next set is very small, not a very large set at all. And then they start at M's low at 38.96.50. That's where they start. Second print start 21. Then we have our, I believe, 9 wide point of control here. Let's count it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 wide. Is it 10? Nope, 9 wide. 9 wide here at D periods low at 39.05. 9 wide point of control, 39.05. We'll label that yellow. Nine wide point of control. Okay. After that, we have today's high at J's high of 39.1875. Like I said, anybody that does make it to the end of these videos, you're an absolute trooper because I know this is very detailed and probably a little long-winded, but hopefully my charting will either A, help you understand where to find intraday levels or how to chart them yourselves. But that's how I look at it. That's how we're going to mark today's day. Um, as far as destinations goes, let's review it. For the upside, we have today's high day at 39.1875. Above that, we will begin to one time frame up on the daily, and then we look to go and attack. We really don't have anything. I mean, there's a vacuum, a void up to 39.85.25 where the gap starts, and then it fills at 39.97. So if shorts and bulls really want to start to panic, shorts begin to panic, provide the bid some more, and bulls want to really let this thing rip, we can push up and fill this gap. It's yet to be seen. Volume's been pretty light. If we don't, if we open up tomorrow inside today's range, can't get above today's high, we remain in a 5-day balance, 4-day balance, and we will roll over, trade at this 9 wide POC 39.05, and then look to take back some of the single prints at 39 or 38.9650 where they start, fill at 38.9575 where they fill, and then the second set at 38.9375, fill at 38.8375. Double distribution, upper distribution is J's high to M's low. So from 39.1875 to 38.9650 we'll treat as one day trade. If we open up inside this, we'll just look to trade the edges for the first initial couple times. Trade the edge. If we get below this upper distribution, then you look to find acceptance in the lower distribution, which is all of A's range from 38.8375 to the low day at 38.7050. If we find acceptance and push lower, we will fill this downside gap at 38.6650 and then trade at this naked 10 wide POC at 38.56. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, hope you're trading safe out there. Thanks for watching. Use stops, and we'll catch you in the next one. See ya.